Hey everyone, so I am on my drill weekend. I've been up since 3:30 this morning and it is 7 o'clock. It's been a long day. I came back to my hotel room, I changed, went and grabbed some food, came back, and I actually received a call from a friend of mine whose daughter was thinking about joining the Air Force and was kind of like, hey, can you talk to her, give her some information? And I started thinking, and this is not the first time I've been asked that. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time that I make a video on this, answer some questions, hopefully, give you my view, what my experiences were, and hopefully this will help somebody. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired, and not saying that reservists have it bad, because we don't, but we definitely kind of do have a dual life, if that's what you want to call it, when it comes to working. I work a full-time job, and on Fridays when I leave work, after working a full day, sometimes a 10-hour day, I come straight to my drill unit and I drill, and I don't have a day off, and it's another early morning starting at 3:30 like I did today, and my day didn't end until about 5:36 at my unit, and just it is what it is. And no one forced me to become a traditional reservist, a TR. Nobody forced me to join the military. It was definitely my decision. So again, not complaining by any means, but just for the video, I'm a little tired, and I always like to be very honest and real with people, and this is what I look like after working for 12, 13-hour days. My concealer is probably rubbed off a little bit. I'm pretty sure that my mascara has rubbed off. But it is what it is, and like I said, I like to be very honest with people. So if you were to see me today, this is what I would be looking like, and just want to be honest. So I actually wrote down some notes because I am so tired that I'm probably going to not remember things that I would like to say. And like I said, I probably should record this when I'm not so tired, but I really want people to see what it's like to be a TR and what it's like to be in the military. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go through my little journey. It's probably gonna be a long video, I'm not gonna lie. So if you wanna get something to eat, by all means go, but definitely gonna start from point A and go all the way to Z to where I currently am in my career for the Air Force, and kind of give you a rundown. And yeah, let me just start. Let me stop babbling on. So for my notes, the first thing that I mentioned and what I thought of was MEPS and your recruiter. So you'll obviously go to recruiter if you enlist. I am enlisted, and you will go in there and pretty much say, hey, I want to join. They will schedule you to take your ASVABs, and that is going to be done at a MEPS location. I enlisted in Virginia. I went in, and I think I took my ASVAB. I went to MEPS to do that maybe like 2 weeks after I walked into the recruiting station. Always keep in mind with what your recruiter tells you, take it with a grain of salt. It is not uncommon for recruiters to lie, and it's very well known that they do. They have quotas that they have to meet. And even though the Air Force's core values say integrity first, they want to meet those quotas, so they're probably not going to tell you the truth. Let's be honest. They're going to tell you you're going to travel. You're not going to travel. And if you do, it's probably of a deployment. Just being, again, really honest with you. And make sure that you read your contract when you are with your recruiter. Just like any legal document that you would, make sure that you read it. They're going to go through it page by page, but if you ever have questions or you feel like something's not right, question it, ask them, read it. I have heard stories, and I don't know how true they are, where they will sign somebody up for extra amount of time or a job that they didn't want, or add stuff in their contracts. And again, I don't know if that's really true or not, but like any legal document, like if you sign a lease, you buy a car, anything, read it over. I got blessed. My recruiter actually was really cool. We were the same age. I enlisted when I was older. I think I was 26 when I enlisted, and she was really, really awesome, and I got really, really lucky. So just make sure that when you go to recruiter, make sure you read your contract, just read it over and ask questions. So after that, you're gonna go to MEPS, you're gonna take your ASVAB, and that's gonna give you a score, and your score is gonna depend, it's gonna pretty much tell you what kind of jobs you get. The lower the score, the lower choices that you're gonna have for your job choices. Like if you score low, you don't get many choices. The higher you score, you obviously get more choices to choose from. I scored high, and I was actually really grateful and blessed that my recruiter heard what I wanted to do, kind of found out like some of my skills and my strengths and what I had done in the past, going to college and everything. And I got lucky and I actually got a job that I really wanted. With that being said, I always tell people, don't just take the job that's being offered. If you want something and you have a time frame that allows you to wait a little bit, wait a little bit. Once you get a job, you're usually stuck with it. It is super hard for, at least for TRs, for you to cross-train. So fun little fact, my husband's actually active duty for the Navy. So some of the stuff that I talk about is kind of what I saw with him and what he experienced. And kind of like, I'm also on active duty orders right now, which I'll explain later, but I see this too as well. So with that being said, if you have time to wait to see if there's another job that can come up, I highly suggest waiting. Don't just pick the first thing that's offered. Usually recruiters will be like, hey, think about it, or I have this or whatever. Research the job and really see what the ins and outs are, because you're not really gonna have the opportunity to cross-train. Sometimes you do, but more or less, I would say like 70 to 80% of the time, you're not going to cross-train. That's gonna be your job for your whole enlistment, more or less. So think about it, pray about it. I don't know what you do. Just make sure that that's the job that you're gonna want. So you're gonna go in, you're gonna get your ASVAB score, you're gonna pick your job, you're gonna sign your contract, and then you're gonna wait to go to boot camp. So BMT, BMT. Again, my notes, making sure that I stay on track. Like I said before, I went to BMT when I was older, and my experience is my experience. Everyone's obviously going to experience something completely different. Also keep in mind that I'm not being endorsed by the Air Force to do this. I'm not harping on the Air Force. I don't want to get anybody's feathers all ruffled up on that. I'm just telling you what my experiences were. Some advice that I would give people if they're wanting to join the Air Force and BMT. So when I was older, and that was a struggle for me because I think I was the second oldest in my class. There was another female who was older than I was, and that was the biggest challenge for me. Age doesn't always guarantee maturity, which is fine, but in my case it did. I actually did get blessed with a really good group of girls to go to BMT with. I really did. I'm not saying I liked every single one of them, but we were a really good group. Low drama, we worked really well as a team, had a little bit of a bond, and again, got blessed. But I went when I was older, and I did not like having to deal with other individuals that were way younger than me, like 12 years, 13 years younger than me. They have different, everyone walks a different path in life. And with that being said, I had to keep an open mind throughout BMT. I had to remember when I was 17, when I was 18, and you know, I went through the same struggles. I'm just in a different point in my life when I went, and I just had to be really positive the whole time. I listened to them. I gave them the opportunity to, if you want to say like cry on a shoulder or whatever, that's what you just do to anybody, regardless if you're at boot camp or not. But just keep an open mind. Don't stress while you're there. In my opinion, boot camp was not bad. My husband went to the Navy, and his boot camp was like a million times worse than mine. And I know we're Air Force, and I know we're gonna get the comments about Chair Force and being like the, you know, the chill, easy branch. BMT wasn't hard for me at all. Again, I think the thing that I struggled the most was just like the mental aspect of it, where I'm like, why are you yelling at me? Like, I know what I'm doing. I had a good job. I came from a really good career, went to school, did college, blah, blah, blah. But that, again, is where I struggled. A tidbit that I always tell people before they go to BMT, run, run, and run. PT was another thing that I kind of struggled with when I was there. Obviously PT before I left, I wasn't just gonna walk up into boot camp and expect to be able to have the same physical standards as them. I had heard different things, so I made sure that I ran a little bit more, did more push-ups, more crunches. But I always tell people, I'm like, if you feel like you're going to be in somewhat of a decent shape, push it a little bit farther, run every day. There's a lot of running, a lot of it, early mornings. I'm not a fan of running to begin with, but being forced to do it in the mornings with a bunch of people, it just wasn't enjoyable. But again, just make sure that you're physically fit when you go. They will help you when you are there if you're struggling in certain areas of your PT test, but we did have, I believe we had a girl fail BMT because she couldn't pass her PT test. That's what it comes down to it. And the bottom line too as well, no one's forcing you to go to the military. At least I don't think anyone's gonna force you to go. You're choosing to sign that dotted line. So if you're gonna make that decision, go full force with it, and you know the fitness requirements are gonna be there, so you might as well just knock it out. You might as well start running and doing all the other components of it. Then you will do a PT test before you leave. You do a PT test while you're there. You still do a PT test when you are in operational Air Force. So at the end of the day, just make sure that your physical standards are there for that. And again, maybe you won't have a great BMT group, and if it is, I'm sorry. But just remember that you're there for your experience, and your attitude is going to be key, because you're going to be living with a bunch of people from different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, political backgrounds, beliefs, everything. And it was actually kind of cool to hear how other people live, because I'm from Texas. I'm born and raised in Texas. I left for a little bit because my husband joined the Navy, so we did all that. But it was really cool to hear about other people's lives. And you can always learn from somebody. Even if you don't like them, you can always learn from them. So make the best out of it when you're at boot camp. I'm not going to tell you how much about boot camp, to be honest. I think that's something that you should walk into and figure it out for yourself. Telling you that you're definitely going to have to run, that's obviously a gimme. But the experience in general, I don't want it to be like a spoiler kind of thing. I really think that's how people should learn, and I feel like that's something they should experience on their own. BMT has also changed since I went. Every year I feel like it changes. Whenever we have new airmen come to my unit, it's always something different. And that's fine. But I am not going to go too much more into BMT. You just need to figure that out on your own. So once you're done with BMT, you're going to go to your tech school. My tech school was super short. It's only 6 weeks. They call us Pop-Tarts because we come in and out real quick. I am medical admin. I'm a 4A. And again, being older, I'm going to college and, you know, doing all that. Studying wasn't an issue for me. I didn't like tech school, to be completely honest. I actually hated it more than I hated boot camp. My roommate was super chill. It's not the living with somebody that bothered me, because I had roommates when I was in college and stuff, but I just didn't like the learning environment. I didn't like our MTIs. I felt like they were jokes, to be completely honest. It wasn't any environment that I had ever been used to or exposed to, and I had a really hard time adjusting to it. At that time, they were converting our dorms to be co-ed, so we had males living with us and stuff, and I didn't like that. And that's a personal view. That's a personal thing. Again, I was older. I'm married. I'm still married, and I was married at the time. And I just didn't like that. It just wasn't for me. And I had a really hard time keeping an open mind about it. And my academics I didn't struggle with. I did really well. But it was just kind of the environment. I just didn't like it. I didn't like having to march to go to eat. I didn't like being in a schoolhouse and having to march there and march back with everybody in the dorms. It wasn't just my AFSC, my job. It was all AFSCs, and we all went on our little groups or whatever. I didn't like that. That was just me, again, being older and being like, I can get to school and back on my own, you know. Again, it was just me though. But I made some really awesome friends, and thankfully they're actually my unit right now with me. So that was really, really cool. And again, I had a really chill roommate, so that helped out as well. But when you're at tech school, just make sure you study. Again, you can fail out of tech school. You're going to do your PT there as well. They're going to make you run at freaking 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. You're going to run. You're going to do stuff that you don't want to do. But again, keeping a good attitude is always key. And make sure you keep your priorities straight. So something that I noticed, and my husband noticed this too as well. He went to boot camp. I say he's a little bit older as well, but we see people that graduate from tech school or from boot camp, and they've earned money. They've saved money while they're there. And I say keep our priorities straight, because my husband personally dealt with this with his junior sailors. And I saw it coming out of tech school as well, where you've earned money and it's in your account and it's burning a hole in your pocket and you want to spend. Just make sure that you're reasonable and stay within your means. Just because you make $30,000 a year does not mean that you can afford a $30,000 car. You probably could, but you're obviously going to be poor in other areas of your life. You're probably not going to be able to eat. Because coming out of boot camp as an E1, you're not gonna, it's just not gonna work. So just make sure that you keep your priorities straight. Always make sure you have a savings. With that being said, I'm gonna kind of transition to like what I was saying for the Air Force or in the military in general can be a really good life. It can offer some awesome things, regardless if you're active duty or reserve, which I'll go into depth a little bit later. But like I said, this video is more for honesty, and I'm not going to get all political view. That's not the point of this video. But I say the military can offer a really good life to people. So my husband knew people who joined the Navy because they pretty much came from nothing. Again, they all came from different backgrounds, and some people were like, my parents are poor, and it was either join a gang or go to jail or sell drugs or work like, you know, a really cruddy job, or I can join the military and, you know, have a roof over my head. Like, they will pay for your housing and they will provide you food, and you can earn an education, and you have a secure job that you're not going to get laid off from. So with that being said, I'm a firm believer that the military can offer a really good life, especially if you're young and you don't really know what you want to do in life, and you really just kind of struggling, or you're just kind of drifting along. So with that, my husband again was in the Navy. I don't know much for active duty Air Force, but for active duty Navy, you can live in what's called PPV, and it's government housing. It's like really nice dorms, and they pay for that, and you're still getting a paycheck on top of this. And if you live in those dorms and you can buy a cheap car, and I say cheap, you're obviously not getting that $30,000 Camaro that you really want. That can be later on in life when you've earned it. But if you save your money and buy a good, reasonable car that's going to get you from point A to point B, it's not going to be crazy on your insurance or for your car payments, and you live frugally, like you don't go out and drink your money away. I get you, sometimes you need to have fun, and that's totally fine. But don't have like $400 bar tabs. I've seen it, and I'm like, you just literally drank away $400 that you could have saved. But if you live within your means and you save up money for during your enlistment, and you get out, and whether you re-enlist or not, I'm just saying for this, if you were not to re-enlist, you could live a really good life, save some money, save all that to go back to school or do whatever you want, start your own business, whatever. The military can offer a good life. It's just depending on how you make it. And again, we've seen people blow their money on some dumb stuff and make really bad financial decisions, which put them in the hole deeper. And they have to rely on the military. They can't get out of the military because they've had 10 kids. They've wrecked cars. They've bought cars out of their means. They've racked up incredible amounts of debt. And it's just kind of like, you could have not lived that life, but you chose to do that. So as I digress, I'm tired. The military can be a good life. You just have to make the best of it. So I've seen people who joined when they were 17 and they were in for 27 years. They get out and they're still, you know, early 40s. They get another career or do what they want to do, and they end up having 2 retirements, and they end up having like 3 different careers because they will have a career on top of a career. And they're doing great. Their retirement's fantastic, and they're older. They're living a great life and doing what they want to do. So it's there. It's just if you make the best of it. So like I said, my husband was active duty. I'm a reservist. So with a reservist, I'm in my hotel room right now. I report once a month to my unit. Like I said, I will leave work on Friday. I get to the hotel room, which the Air Force will pay for. They pay for your lodging, but they don't pay for your gas and, you know, all that fun stuff. I get here Friday night. I check in. I'm up at 3:30, and I go on Saturday. I'm there the whole day, get released. I come back here. I sleep. And then I'm up again on Sunday, probably at 3:30, do the whole day, and then I go back home to where I live. Being a reservist, you're going to get a lot of, at least I've gotten a lot of slack for it, and honestly I really don't care, but you get the same benefits as if you were active duty. Now with that being said, you have it takes you a little bit longer to accrue points for your career, but it can be done. A TER isn't a bad option. It's really not, because again, depending on your active duty time, you will get your school paid for. So that is awesome. If you are wanting to go back to school, they pay for certain certificates and certifications and such. So you're getting the benefits of it. You're just kind of doing it part-time in a little bit of a longer span than if someone who is active duty. But if that's something that you're interested in, by all means, do it. Being a TR also, as I mentioned earlier, I am on orders. So I am medical admin, as I mentioned, but I'm on orders doing a different AFSC with a different unit. So they are paying me. So I am considered active duty right now. But the beauty of it is that, well, I lied. It's not really a beauty. It's definitely a double-edged sword on that one, where they will pay for me. I have full benefits. This is considered active duty time. Awesome. But the flip side is that the funding can run out in these units that I say they hire, but they use TRs to help accomplish their mission. If funding runs out, you lose a job and then you're back to your civilian job. So little fun facts about being a TR. It's not bad. It really isn't. There's some times where things happen on the weekends that I would much rather be doing. Like, again, my husband's not here with me. I would love to spend some time with him, but I am fulfilling the commitment that I chose to do. And there's gonna be trips that you wanna go on, and there's gonna be things happening that you would much rather be than be at your unit slaving away. I say slaving, it's not that bad, but there's gonna be other times where you don't want to be at your unit, but service before self. You made that decision. You're gonna stay true to your commitment. You're gonna give it your best and enjoy your next weekend off. Excuse me. So just kind of the ins and outs of being in the military. It's good, but again, it's what you're gonna make of it. Just make good decisions, give it your all, have a good attitude, and it can be pretty well for you. It can work out pretty well for you. Yeah, it's a really long video, and I feel like I rambled on, and I look like a hot mess. But again, just being real with everybody, this is what I look like. This is working from 3:30 this morning till now 7 o'clock at night. Yeah, I hope this video helps somebody. As always, just leave some comments or questions below and I will gladly answer them. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm sorry this video was so long, but I hope this information helps somebody out there, and I hope y'all enjoy this video. As always, subscribe, so the more that I upload, the more that you know, the more that you know, the more it will educate you and help you make better decisions. So thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a great day.